Hey everybody, good morning. This is Chris Irving from Kratom Kingdom, and I wanted to talk today about how, if you're new to Kratom, you've heard of it, but you don't really know what it's about, and you want to try it. How do you do that? What's the best way to get started on something like Kratom? Um, this video is not made for children because technically you have to be 18 years or older to use Kratom. Because before you're 18, your brain isn't completely formed yet. I'm a neuropsychologist. Spent 20 years in school of psychology. Then I went to specialized in neuropsychology. So I know a little bit about the brain. And I know a lot about Kratom because I've been using it for the past 15 years. And being an academic, I studied it to make sure it's safe and that it will do what I want it to do. Little side note, if you're using Kratom just to get high, this isn't your substance because it doesn't always make you high. It barely ever gets you high. Once you start using it, the euphoria goes away quickly. When I first took it, it did give me a euphoric effect. And then I chased that by drinking more and more and more of it because I take it as a tea when I say drinking it. But nowadays I use it for medical reasons because if you have chronic pain or any kind of chronic illness, it might be the perfect substance for you. Because I have chronic pain because I had a massive stroke in 2003, which causes my muscles on the left side of my body, because they're paralyzed, it causes them to get tensed and flexed up. My left hand is always like this, and flex your left arm for 10 minutes straight as hard as you can, and I guarantee you after 10 minutes of flexing it, all those muscles are going to be sore as hell. There's just no way around it. And my muscles are flexing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I never get a break. Even when I sleep, my arm is curled and hurting. My leg throbs because it has no connection to my brain anymore. So because of the chronic pain, I drink a cup of red Kratom tea specifically. For me, I found red Kratom is the best for pain. And also, I have a couple of psychological issues from my stroke, such as extreme generalized anxiety disorder, clinical depression, bipolar disorder, borderline personality disorder, and the list goes on and on and on. And I take a lot of medications for it, but I'm trying to get off of those medications because they have some horrible side effects. So what I do now is I drink Kratom every day. And because of that, I have been able to get off my antidepressant, my anti-anxiety medications, which are two pretty hardcore medications. And okay, well, back to the reason of this video. You've heard about Kratom. So why are you looking to take it? Are you looking to relieve pain? Are you looking to get off of opiates because you're sick of them? Are you looking to feel better psychologically? Well, those are good reasons to use it. If you're using it to get high, not for you. I mean, if you're a drug addict, you're a drug addict, and Kratom's not going to help you with that. But it will help you get off of certain drugs because it makes the withdrawal off of opiates like heroin and hydrocodones and morphine a lot more tolerable. When I was in the hospital, I was on opiates for a month straight, morphine, and then all of a sudden they stopped. And I was going through withdrawals. They gave me the normal Suboxone and tried to titrate me down, but none of that worked. I still went through the horrible withdrawals. Then I got home and started looking for those medications illegally on the streets, and eventually I found them and had a problem with them. Then I moved to a place. It was kind of like a cult house. It was a commune, actually, and on it lived a whole bunch of hippies, and all these hippies used natural medications to help them get off of things. And as you know, a lot of hippies do a lot of drugs. So they were fighting heroin and other drug abuses that they were using. And a shaman came to our commune and introduced us to Kratom. And because of that, 90% of us on the commune were able to kick our drug habits. And for me, it's been a miracle because I have no pain, my anxiety's gone. I still have agoraphobia, which is something I'm really trying to beat by going to a psychologist. And I have a fear of leaving my house and driving because overstimulation freaks me out and gives me panic attacks, which causes seizures. So that's just a constant battle, and Kratom hasn't been able to help me with that yet. But I'm still working on it. I'm trying different strains. So where do you get Kratom from if you want to try it for the first time? I would recommend a good online source, like Amazing Botanicals. It's an online. Then there's Mountain Kratom. There's hundreds of them. But so just do a Google search for Kratom distributors online, and it'll give you a list of probably 50. And choose one, and then go to their website, and you want to make sure it's lab tested for number one, because that'll tell you if it's how much of the active ingredient, which is called Mitrogyna speciosa, is in it. And it will tell you if it's got any pesticides, herbicides, insecticides. And it'll tell you how pure the Kratom is, which is all very important. And what I do is I call or I email the distributor and I say, how fresh is your Kratom? Where do you get it from? Most places get it from Indonesia because that's one of the biggest their economy is. Most of the farmers there grow Kratom because it's so popular around the world now that it gets them the most money. And so Indonesian farmers are very ethical, and I've become friends with quite a few of them in my research and studies. And I've seen, we've had video walkthroughs. Even though there was a language barrier, they would walk me through their farms, show me their trees. He even mailed me some fresh leaves off a tree, whole leaves. And I sent them to a lab and had them analyzed, and they were really potent leaves. So and they were fresh. Freshness is something. So when the Kratom comes, if it's a dark color, that usually means, and kind of moist, that usually means it's very fresh. If it's very dried out and very light colored, it's probably been sitting in a warehouse for years and not very good. So don't always look for the best price, look for the best product. And sometimes these guys will sell you a little tiny bit just to test it. And that's what I would recommend. I would get the smallest, cheapest quantity you can get. And a lot of people toss and wash it, which means they'll take a spoonful of the Kratom powder and put it in their mouth and then swish it down with a glass of water or orange juice. And then that powder will get stuck in your throat. It's horrible. I hate toss and wash. So what I do is I make a tea. I put some sweetener in it in the bottom of the cup. Then I put a gram or two of Kratom in whatever strain I happen to have at the time. And then on top of that, you've gotta have a citric acid like lemon juice, orange juice, grapefruit juice, something that's citric, because what that citric acid does is it does something called potentiation, and it potentiates, which makes stronger the Kratom, the Mitrogyna speciosa in the Kratom, which is the active ingredient. And without the citric acid, that Mitrogyna really doesn't have anything to help it bind to your brain cells. And that's what you want. I mean, you want the alkaloid, the Mitrogyna, to actually bind to your opiate receptors on your brain, which will trick your brain into thinking it's taking opiates. So you don't go through so heavy withdrawals if you're getting off of opiates. And it also fools your brain into thinking it's a pain reliever. So I don't feel any of the pain in my shoulders. I don't get headaches anymore. My legs don't throb so much. And that's because I make a tea. And I drink... This is what the tea looks like. It's very green. And mine tastes like warm lemonade, because the taste of kratom is awful. You're going to hate it. Most people won't use kratom because it's awful. They also sell these things called capsules, kratom capsules, and they're these little tiny gel caps full. I'm recording. And they make these little tiny gel packs, or these little tiny gel capsules, and people would eat them. And to me, I've eaten 12 at one time and did nothing to me, because it's usually crappy kratom in the capsules, and those capsules just go right to your stomach and sit there. The gelatin capsule shell disintegrates, and then you've just got powder sitting in your stomach, not getting in your bloodstream, not getting to your brain, with no citric acid in it. And it kind of makes you nauseous. Most people that I know that have taken just capsules, it makes them nauseous, as well as toss and wash. So I prefer a liquid tea that gets to your blood easier, and it doesn't just sit in your stomach. It goes through your kidneys, which gets in your blood, which sends it to your brain, which has all the effects you need. And I go through about 8 ounces of kratom, which is about $30 every 3 or 4 days. So that's a half a pound. Amazing Botanicals will sell you 2.2 pounds of 4 different strains that you can pick out. So I usually pick a red, a green, a white, and they've got one strain called Trainwreck, which is a mix of all the different strains. And I put them in separate containers, and I'll label the containers, and I'll alternate between strains, because a different strain will affect you differently. Like red is a pain reliever for me. White is a stimulant. But you'll have to find all that out on your own, just by trial and error and experience. But when I do get the 2.2 pounds, it is a little more expensive. It's $109 for it. But you get 4 strains, and because I only drink, which is 4 containers of 8 ounces each, half a pound each, I usually have a little extra at the end of the month that I can carry over to the next month, so I only have to get 3 different, which is $90, which saves me another $20. And then that'll get me through the entire next month. So that's 2 months, and I use it a lot because it's my medicine. I use it to get better and to function, so I don't have to take pills all the time, like benzodiazepines, which last very short for me, and they take a long time to take effect on me. But if you have any questions, put them in the comments, and I'll try to answer any question you have. I'm pretty good about comments. And if you find you want to know more about kratom, please subscribe to this channel. I really need subscribers and help, and liking is very important, because it shows YouTube that people are watching and liking my videos, which helps me with the algorithm that YouTube uses. And I'm already against it because kratom is age restricted, 18 and under. So leaving my viewer list or a potential audience to just adults 18 and over. And that's the population I want to reach out to, because they're the ones that really need kratom. Kids don't really need kratom. Kids are healthy, their brains are healthy, and if they have good parents, parenting and good schools, hopefully, and good friends, hopefully they'll stay off of drugs. I, unfortunately, when I was in high school, hung out with the punks, and what we did was drank and did a lot of drugs because we were punk rock skateboard kids. And some of that still carries over today. I was in punk rock bands when I grew up, and fortunately I found a part of my music scene that was called straight edge. And in straight edge, we consciously made a vow: we would never do drugs, we would never drink alcohol, never smoke a cigarette, never have immoral or illicit sex just to have sex, because it causes diseases, it hurts the girl usually, possibility of getting her pregnant, and ruining both the male and the female's life because they're not ready to have a baby. So we were trying to be as politically correct as possible. So when I did get sick, when I had the stroke, they couldn't figure out why, because I was also an animal rights activist, part of straight edge, and didn't eat meat. I was totally 100% vegan, so I had no cholesterol problems. And I drank a lot of coffee, which dehydrated and probably caused part of my blood clotting disorder. And but because I have my entire body from here down is covered in tattoos like this, they have assumed I was a drug addict or part of a gang or something. So they didn't treat me as fast and as well as they should have. They tested me for drugs first, did a full drug panel with my blood, which takes forever. And all that time, my brain is dying and dying and dying and dying until I am totally paralyzed on my left side. Almost the entire right side of my brain is gone. So I'm living with half a brain, my right side only, and my IQ dropped by 15 points, which was hard because I was a hardcore university academic. I was going to be a professor, a PhD in psychology, and that most of my peers and cohorts in college that I grouped with, we were the elite students, and we all kind of formed a group called Psy-Chi, which was the psychology department's elite. You know, we all had to have a GPA of at least 4.0. Mine was 4.1 because I took graduate level classes as an undergrad because I ran out of classes to take. Never got lower than an A minus. And when I did get an A minus, I had to take I had to take the class over again to get an A because I wasn't going to take an A minus. That's just not who I was. And after graduation, I became a teacher because I got a master's in psychology, neuropsychology, and education. Education specifically for children with behavioral and emotional disabilities. So that's a little about me. That's where I'm coming from, trying to show you this substance called Kratom that I use a lot. And I'm not a drug addict, never have been, except for when I wasn't an addict even when I was a young punk skateboarder. I mean, I dabbled in it, but I never really got hardcore, never did anything harder than marijuana. So I always had a head because I knew I didn't want to be a bum, and I always wanted to be smart, and I was very smart. I had an average IQ of 135, and after my stroke it dropped to 115, which just about killed me. I remember one of my mentor professors, Dr. Henderson, we were walking down the hallway together, as we mostly did because I was his TA as an undergrad. You know, I would teach, or I would help him teach psychology courses, like basic psychology, which gave me a higher GPA and gave me a higher standing in the department. So he told me, yes, Chris, we know you, we have our eye on you, and you're one of the best students we have, which is why we let you tutor everybody else. We recommend that they talk to you and Psy-Chi because you guys got it figured out and you're all very smart, independent men and women. So that's who I was in college. And after my stroke, I was walking with the head of the psychology department Dr. Bruce Henderson, and he told me, yeah, Chris, you used to walk on water. Now you've got to learn to swim with the rest of us. Because you've got a normal IQ now of 115, which is only one standard deviation over 100, which is the average IQ of any normal person. Like my brothers and sisters. And so it's not like education came, or psychology came easy to me. I studied a lot because I had a lot of discipline and work ethic from my father, who just passed away, and taught me to work. And if you're going to do something, do your best at it. My dad was amazing. And when he passed away, I lost my hero. I lost everything. So now I'm taking care of my elderly mother, who my father unfortunately left behind, and she has nothing. She has no money. She's living off of basic Social Security for elderly people, and she had 9 strokes. It just kind of runs in her family, I guess. So she's disabled, almost dementia, because her brain is so fried from the strokes. So it's a full-time job for me to take care of her. So I'm living in her house right now until I can get affordable housing through the government. And then I'm hoping the rest of my family will take over from what I'm doing and take her to grocery stores, take her to her doctor's appointments, which I do all that now. Make sure she takes her medicine on time, help her cook meals, help her clean the house. And I'm running out of money because I'm paying her electric and water and all the utilities, and paying for lawn maintenance and all that stuff that a house needs. And so I can't afford to buy things like a new computer, and the computer I'm using is from 2013, a Mac Pro from 2013, before all this money problems I had happened, and it's slowly starting to die. It's doing really weird things. I can't put the editing software I need to make my videos better, and as a result, I have a GoFundMe account, which you'll find a link to in the description of the video, which goes directly to helping me buy my medicine, save money for my computer, put gas in my car, buy some food for my mom, and just help out. Because right now I've got 3 t-shirts and 1 pair of pants and no shoes. So I'm kind of hurting right now. And if you've watched my past videos, you know I've told my story. I'm not begging for money by any means, but if you have a couple of extra dollars, you could donate to my GoFundMe. It's greatly appreciated. It goes right into my savings account, and I use it to support myself and my mother, and hopefully one day get a new computer, which I'm not too I don't have very high hopes of that happening, because I need $500 for a computer that would be adequate to hold the editing software I need, and that would last me another 10 years. Macintosh computers to me are the best, and I've only used them. I've always been a geek tech guy. I started on PCs, and then when the schools that I was working at started transitioning to Mac, I was sold. I was like, oh my god, this computer makes so much more sense to me. And if you're an artist like myself who makes music and videos, it's the best you can get. And I mean, I'm using a 2013 model and making videos for YouTube at least 2 times a week. I try anyway. Sometimes I've got medical appointments, or I've got to take my mom needs special care because she falls and she might break her leg or something, which she's done 3 times. And then I've got to go and somehow go to thrift stores and find her a wheelchair so that she can get around the house, because she tries to be as independent as possible. So everybody, to all I've got 1,080 subscribers, which has blown all my expectations. I never thought I would even get 500 subscribers. So 1,080. I mean, I'm trying to get to 2,000 by January. That's my goal anyway. So if you're new to this channel and want to know more about Kratom, please subscribe. and like this video and help me get up there so I can monetize my channel and actually take better care of myself and my mom and have less worries in the world, because my car is falling apart, and without that me and my mom are dead, because I can't count on the rest of my family to help us. They think we're burdens, and they live across the street and they can't come across the street to help me change a tire on my car. I have to pay somebody, which is silly when you've got perfectly healthy and able brother-in-law, nephews that are in their 20s but refuse to help me because I'm a burden and my mom's a burden. And my mom gave them the house that we're living in right now instead of giving it to me because she didn't think I could afford it, which she's probably right. I would have probably messed up. But anyway, I am going to leave it here. I'm really appreciative if you guys made it through this entire video. Thank you so much. I really, really love you all. And I love the world, and I think we need more love in the world. So I voted. I'm hoping you're going to vote. My mom voted. We did it by absentee ballots because we're disabled, and I'm not sure I could drive her in November to this school to vote, which is miles away. So it was very important for me to vote, especially in this election, because Social Security is on the line. And if Project 2025 comes out and I lose Social Security, I might as well be dead. In fact, I probably will be dead, because without Social Security disability, I have nothing, no one to help me. I got sick by no fault of my own. I didn't do anything to have a stroke. It just happened to me. It was an unfortunate mistake of my genetics somehow. So I'm not a bum that's living off of Social Security because I don't want to work. I want to work really bad. And the reason I have Social Security is because I worked since I was 14 years old as a dishwasher at Pizza Hut, all the way until I was 33 as a teacher, making really good money, bought and sold many houses, had a great family. After about 10 years after my stroke, my wife decided she didn't want to be married to a disabled person. And so she divorced me, kicked me out, made me move to Tennessee where my parents lived and live with them. And they were never wealthy. My parents have always never, ever been economically smart. So they have nothing. But they took me in and gave me a room to sleep in. And then when my father died, my mom, in dementia, let my sister take over her life and signed the house over to her 2 children, my mom's grandchildren, my nephews. And they're in their 20s, and the youngest one actually threw me on the ground and started kicking me because I said something mean to his dad, and they both bullied at me. You know, I'm a 55-year-old, 100% disabled human being, and they took advantage of that and bullied me because in the past, before my stroke, I was a pretty badass guy. You know, I played in bands. I was a part of the straight edge crew, which at the time could be very violent because there was a lot of people that drank and did drugs at the clubs that we hung out at that didn't like the fact that we didn't do drugs and that we didn't drink, so they would attack us, and we as a group of individuals protected each other. And so I have been in a lot of violent altercations and could handle myself and take care of myself. And after I got sick, my brother-in-law, who never really liked me because he cheated on my sister after they had 2 kids together, so I never really respected him, and I let it be known that I didn't respect him. And he was too afraid of me to do anything before my stroke. But now that I'm disabled, it's like open game on Chris. And they all took advantage of me, beat me up. My sister said she hated me and never wants to see me again and would never help me again. She was my only living relative that could possibly help me. And now I'm dead to her and her family, so I've got no one. I'm completely alone. And my mom doesn't have that much longer to live. When she goes, I'm totally alone, and I only have you guys. So I'm counting on you as Kratomites and part of this community to continue to show me love like you have, and support, and advice, because I really listen to you guys. I mean, you guys have given me amazing advice and amazing words of encouragement, and that's what this channel's about. I love you all. It's been a half hour, so have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.